here. Then we just have one thing left, that's this like gear together with a bolt. Actually we can get rid of the low base. Nah, let's keep it. We'll see if we use it or not. So we can just go here, take one of those and export. Delete one. So now we have a bolt. That seems too big. Maybe this one should have been more thick. Just gonna position that pivot and try to scale it up a little bit. Something like that. Again, I don't care too much about matching the reference exactly, I'm just more using it as how it should be. Not worried about making it perfect. We actually have a gear primitive, which is pretty useful for once. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Gonna get rid of all those. I know, I don't really feel it. Start with a cylinder. Make this 8. Actually, let's go with 16. I'm gonna bevel every other one. Actually, before doing so, let's do a put this a bit in place. Extrude. Push and off. I'm gonna start taking these. and extrude. Delete all that. So now we need to duplicate this one 16 times. There should be an instance. Number of copies 15, so we have 16. And we need to rotate it by freeze the transform. So to see, I think that should be 360 divided by 15, the 24. See what happens if we do that. Oh, actually we should mirror this first. Mirror. It's messing up because it's on the not on 0. Just gonna move this into the 0. Now do that. Make sure the thirds are merged. That should be 45. Now we should do it 7 times by 45. It's not doing it from the pivot. Try freezing that transform. Nope. Gonna have to do that by hand. Not being exactly right. I guess it's okay. It's close enough. So now we have a gear that looks more like how we want it to look like. Combine, and let's merge that all together. It's not merging well. And we can get rid of this. And let's make sure it's all nice and flat. sure why it's going like that. So now let's move it into place. You can snap this to a vert nearby, to the middle one there. Now we just need to add some thickness. That's all. Let's add some baffles. It's gonna be the most easy by doing hard edges. Something like that. Now we have like a bolt gear thingy. It should be a little bit more thick. That's all that we need to do from this part. So now we can take it all, save, do edit, delete by type. History, get rid of those. This one changed, let's get rid of it. Accidentally deleted the low one. Let's place that one back. And call this low. Take all this and just export it. Actually, should smooth this all out one time. Again, this just to avoid any n-gons. This okay. Still have some n-gons in there. Let's go ahead and export this separately. So those are fine. Like this one. Yeah, so that one had an n-gon. You see how much more detail we have now in our sculpt already. Now that we're starting to model some stuff out. Let's do the same mask. Now it's too safe. So I'm gonna continue working a bit on the mask. I think the next most important thing should be like this little thingy here. So let's do that. Again, just applying that thickness, exporting it out to Maya. This is one of my favorite ways to work with Maya and Zbrush. Just doing these really quick block out sculpts in Zbrush. Then bringing them into Maya to make sure they're all nice and tight and clean. So if I look at this, it should consist of two parts. We can take all this and just delete it. So that's going to be the first part. Can make this a little bit. That's okay. Let's add the bevel. Maybe like that. Now finally we need to add some thickness. Just a little bit. And again, to bevel you can just select that loop and control to edges to parameter to quickly select both of them. Bevel edge and keep that chamfer on. So now we got the first part. Doesn't work how I expected it to be. I'm just making a new plane here because I want to have a little bit of a nicer topology. It's more like quad-like. So that's work. Center that pivot. And that's smooth. Gonna do a duplicate. Hide this one for now. This one needs to be a little bit bigger. Add some thickness. Then I want to create this grid-like thing. So that's going to be a little bit more challenging to model it. I think we can model it out as a tile. Just gonna start with one cube. Just want to line that up to one cube on the grid. These are basically gonna be like the straight lines that run through it. How much open it? Get rid of those sides. And next one should go over. So we can try duplicating this. make sure that they are aligned the same. That looks about right. That doesn't work yet. I think it should be like that. I think that should do it. As you can see, that works. If we duplicate this. So now we have a nice little tileable. Let's check that really quickly. I want to merge it all together. Let's merge vertices. Now I want to give it one subdivision. Let's call this detail tile. Let me scale it way down. I think we can also push to be a little bit less rounded. Maybe make this more rounded. I think that looks a little bit better. Maybe I overdid it a little bit though. Just trying to eliminate some of that extreme curviness. Now we just have to choose an appropriate size. Actually, let's keep it pretty big. Say this is the biggest it gets. Actually, let's go here. And line it up to the corners. Now let's freeze that transform. And now, let's do a duplicate. See how much we have to move this by. So we can move this by this value. Now we can do edit, duplicate, special, copy. Let's say 15. I just paste those values and apply. So now we get this. Let's combine. Delete the history. Gonna merge that all together. Now this should be about 1, so 9.6. So I want to do the same thing that we just did, but for the height. So we put in the y-axis. Now we get a pretty nice grid. This is also how you can model like any details. Let's say you're doing, you want to create a cotton texture and you want to model out that fabric. This is how you do it. You do like a little tileable area And then you can come in and you make like a tile like this. But of course then you need to make sure that it's like tileable in 1:1. Because now we have strange texture size. If it was fabric. Then to bring in variation, you could export it. And go to Zbrush. Do it in here. Control E. So let's say this is a 4K texture. And it's 1:1. Then you come in Zbrush. We didn't merge it together yet. Merge vertices. Export. Then in Zbrush to bring some detail to it. First you could say gonna mask those borders, so I cannot touch those. You could make like a layer. You could bring in some noise or whatever. You could go with the move tool. Let me see, where's my brush? Move topological. Then you could just kinda bring in some variation to your fabric tile. That's how you can make like patterns to use for texturing. But we don't need that. I think we made it a little bit too thick. So we can deflate it. Gonna select all this. Export it out to Zbrush. Now in Zbrush, let's go ahead and separate this. The split hidden. Layers still. Rid of that thickness. Gonna hide that one really quickly. So you can see it's a little bit too thick. We can just polish that. Can try deflate. I think will work a little bit better. Yeah. Like that. Maybe we can make it a little bit bigger. Go ahead and merge it all together. Just gonna place that where it should be. You can see how quickly a block out is becoming like a pretty nice looking sculpt just by adding these modeled details. I also prefer most of the times to start off with like modeling these hard surface details, as I think it's the least fun to do, right? So if I can get it out of the way as soon as I can, I'm happy. Because I prefer to do some like fun organic sculpting like leather instead of modeling some gas thingy. I think any asset that has like the combination of hard surface and organic stuff always looks super nice. It's one of the reasons why I chose this asset. It's a nice combination. So as you can see, if we look at like this, it looks right the size, but as soon as we zoom out, it becomes really noisy. So most of the times when you're doing like stuff in 3D, you need to take whatever you're making, you need to increase the details. Just make them bigger, I mean, like scale the details up, so they work at different angles. Not angles, like zoom ins. Like now it doesn't look as noisy if we look at it from this. I just want to look for like a balance between the details not looking too big if we get too close, and the details not becoming too noisy if we get too far away. Sometimes scaling can be a little annoying. You get a bit more control if you just do it on a layer. I think there's a good in between. I'm gonna do an export of this thingy. Let's call this details red. So we can always come back and make the details bigger or smaller if after the bake we see that's just becoming one big noise. So now we need to mask out everything that we don't need. So that looks like it's doing the job. We can delete that. Now you can see we have a nice little detailed thingy. One last thing, I wanna... This has some curvature to it. If we look at it, it looks like punched in. I'm gonna mask this. Just take the move brush. This can be a little annoying. Start punching that in. Move it up a little bit here. So I think that looks nice. I'm gonna take this one. I wanna punch that in a little bit as well. There we have it. I think that looks nice. Get a tube back. Let's decide on the next thing to do. I'm gonna take this one. I'm gonna block this out a little bit further. I'm gonna hint at all the, how you call this, like swirling around this metal piece. This is also nice from this asset. We can do some cool fluffy stuff with alpha cards here. It's gonna look really nice against the metal. Just like that. Maybe the next part will be that it's a really small detail. Maybe we can move away from the mask for a bit and we start working a bit more on the different other parts. Yeah, I think this part is bothering me the most by now. So let's work a bit on the straps and the connections on that. So we're gonna need to work a little bit more on the ladder to get this connection part in here. I think first I wanna like finish off the ladder look itself to where everything goes. Then we can start blocking this out. Let's do a save. So first I wanna hint that this is gonna have like a little flap around it. Go ahead and hide straps. One thing that we're lacking is some underlying shape. Take a look at here. See that metal plastic thingy has a lot of shape. And we don't have any shape yet. Gonna bring back our symmetry, I think. Actually, we don't need it. This isn't as much about matching it up exactly as it should be. This is more about looking for a nice silhouette. We can start bringing in some cool details. Like some really nice folding that's going on. You want to be sure I keep filling that space up a bit. You can see how I'm like making a underlying thingy here. Just pushing through the ladder. By having something underneath it, we can create this folds. There's not really a like you have to do the folds like this. It's just there's some underlying surface here, so we can play with folds. It's not like the folds have to flow this in this way because blah blah blah. Just putting in some folds to make it interesting. And they should be pretty nice thick folds because it's lead and that's a very thick surface. And then as a reference to follow, folds should kind of fold in on themselves, so they should kind of connect with each other. That's all there is to it. I'm looking for nice shapes. Like I don't like how we have like this weird shape there. Just gonna undo that. And literally all that I'm looking for is to make a asset look interesting. Of course I want it to look nice and interesting from all sides. Go and look at that, I think that's quite a cool folding. So we can put that in here. want to make it look a little bit more like leather, so I'm gonna get a color back. Also get a new light. Let's get some actual UVs so we can do some leather details on it. So it's really simple. Make sure you have polygroups. See, plug in UV master, polygroups, and unwrap. That's literally all that we have to do. And now to make this look like leather, well, since this is just a block out, it doesn't really matter, so we can already push these details in here a bit. I'm gonna go deformation and noise this out. Now we got like a rough edge to it. But this is just a block out, remember that, so be really quick with this. Now we go to surface, noise, put it to UV. Actually, let's start by 3D. Disable color blend. Put some basic noise in there. Sure it's not a layer. I'm messing with layers will disable your poly count. Put on a layer. Just apply to mesh. And we can kind of scale that. Then lastly, we bake that all. Surface, noise, edit, UV. Then alpha. Just go to a tileable ladder map. I'm using one from texturing XIZ. Mix basic noise should be at 0. Alpha scale should be up there. Then change the strength. This import put in a minus. Now we have something that looks pretty nice like leather. This needs to be a little bit softer though. I'm gonna take that. Can feather that out. Just polish. Now noise. We're gonna have a little line here, and that's just because of the UVs, so ignore that. Let's get a color back. Like this, and just fill the object. Just be a little bit more reddish or brown. I think that's a good color. Gonna make this leather details a little bit less big. So like this. Now we can just have a little bit of a better preview of our fabric. Now we can continue to sculpt some shapes on there. You want to be pretty fast with this. Just get some folds in there and whatever. And then later we can see what we like and what we don't like. this looks really perfect still. If you get little things like this, just intersections, we can mask that, invert, and just push that in a bit. And remember, this is not a final sculpt, it's just a block out. I'm looking to what shapes I like and what folds I like. I think this looks a little bit too noisy. Just smooth it all out a bit. Break that symmetry up. I want to redefine some of those borders that we have. For the reference, I'm just looking at some folds, how leather should kind of behave. Right now I'm just kind of fighting the balance between really bumpy noise, really bumpy surface, and having no folds like boring looking sculpt. I think maybe we can make these flaps a little bit bigger, because I like how that looks. Color back. Again, putting colors can really help you with your block out. See how everything works together. Go ahead and get our straps back. Just gonna do a quick save. I think should work a little bit on the goggles by now, because we've been ignoring those for quite a while. I think this looks a little bit too white. So you can see how we go back and forth when we edit certain parts. Because in the end everything needs to work nicely together. So let's go ahead and work a little bit on the goggles. I think the first thing is we should add like a little detail clip. Actually, let's like define the goggles a bit more, and then we can put in the detail clip once we got this. So we're missing like a big feature there. Have like a corner. As you can see, everything's still on the block out the goggles. So we're gonna start to actually model it by now. Let's break that symmetry. Breaking symmetry always helps a lot by pushing your sculpt. Just gonna give it some nice and symmetrical folds. This seems like one of the easier parts to get into. Let's leave that for a little bit more. I think this should be covering the gap so we don't get any light leaks. Now one important part, this is going to be merged together with this one. Again, I'm looking at reference on my other screen. Trying to match the curvature it has. So I do like some of the folds that we put in, but I think it's a bit too messy. So what we can do is we can make a layer. Go all the way down. Just gonna polish. And polish. Now we can decrease the strength of the folds that we had before. I think I'll keep that something like this. Then we can do a morph target to bake all. Then if we want, we can bring specific folds. That doesn't work. Let me go back a little bit. I think we should have actually done it before we smooth it, but it's okay. You can just bring them back by hand. Gonna use a new brush. That's the smooth direction brush. So what this brush does, you can basically just smooth it only in one direction. This is a really nice brush to kind of clean up your sculpt. We have a lot of noise there. Just trying to bring in some details without the mesh becoming too messy. Again, at this point you don't want to be attached to anything that you did yet. Like fold them. think that's far enough for now. I want to focus a bit more on stress. And the way you decide on which part you want to work at, you basically just look at whatever part that's bothering you the most. And then you say, alright, this part's bothering me, so let's put some work into it. So on our main reference, we have this, but I don't really like how that looks. I think this looks a lot cooler, where we have like a separate panel with 4 buttons. So I'm gonna go with that one. I should be pushed a little bit more this side, I think. Let's take a look where our ears are. I should move this thing a little bit down. By moving it down, we also make some space for that strap, which is great. Okay, keep paying attention to the front view. It's going to be the most important view after all. I can move this all the way down. Don't need this anymore. And that was the wrong thing I just deleted. Let's go save. Just happened. We deleted the entire folder, which is really annoying. Let's take a look. This 26. Let's go to 25. Let's open that. Let's open that last one. Just gonna open it through this, because I don't want the whole one to close. Actually, I got lucky and I got a quick save right before we did that, so I'm gonna use that. So we don't need to copy over the stuff. I think that's a really shitty feature of Zbrush, that you can just delete an entire group if it's not open, and then you hit delete. I think they should definitely get it out. I've deleted entire groups so many times. Let's move that down a bit again. Symmetry. Like that. In. Look at all the space we're getting now for our strap, which is great. It's a little bit low though. Let me check up against the reference. I think it's not too bad. Gonna hide straps though and kinda check out that silhouette. Yeah, I do feel like I wanna keep them up a little bit. Keep them like this. Do need to add some more detail here eventually. Get rid of all the folds. Something like that's okay for now. Go ahead and do those little clips. So I'm pretty sure you can guess how we're gonna do this. Gonna paint a mask. I'm gonna extract. Mirror. Inflate a little bit. And I think that's way too much. So before we move on, I'm gonna model this out. Let's see for a better picture. Just gonna start off with a cube. Let's see. That's all that we need as a base. We should extrude it inwards. Just a little bit rounded, I think. Again, this doesn't need to be perfect. Just need to get some detail in, right? If we smooth it out, you can see what we're starting to get. I'm not sure if that's nicely rounded. Let's go to cylinder. Just gonna check. We're not getting right around this. Let's see. Yeah, it's annoying. Just redo that with this. Come up a little bit to take a closer look. That's this edge there. This one. Again, this should be rounded. Push it smaller. Like to put chamfer off so we can always delete those baffles. That's alright. It's only speed of deep, I think. So I'm just going over the edges and adding some baffles one by one. I'm doing it one by one so I can really control the baffle for each one, the look. Sharp it is. think this one might be a little bit too high. Also might be too high actually. That's alright. I do feel like we should have a little bit of a bevel here. This one should be a lot softer. That's why I like to have the chamfer, so we can easily delete the bevel if we need to. Let's do thick. I think that looks pretty alright. Nice some detail here though. It's alright. Yeah, like that's okay. We should bevel this one though. Just try to add a little bit more structure. And lastly, I think we should get rid of that one. Just push this in a little bit. A bit too much. Maybe the same here. I think that's a nice looking button. So let's export it. It's gonna add a ton of detail again, which is nice. And save. As you can see, it jumped from 25 to 27, because 26 already existed. Actually, let's go back a little bit. I wanna make the low poly already for this. So most of this, of making low poly, is just gonna go in and deleting those bevels again. And for this one, I'll already making the low poly, because we're gonna be duplicating this stuff around. I don't wanna like delete all these edges multiple times. Just want to do it once, and then once we place the high poly, we place the low poly with it. And collapse that. Be hard edge. It's quite a high poly count. This is why it's important to work with like 24 or whatever, with an even number, so we can start collapsing stuff. Cheeky, that doesn't work. And I'm making this a lot more high poly than it could be. You could go really low with this. But since consoles and computers, they're getting pretty powerful, and it's portfolio, I want to keep this pretty high. So it's just gonna look nice in the render. But of course it still needs to be like a reasonable amount of polygons. We cannot go too crazy. I'm gonna have this for shading. Maybe I'll just leave that up to that moment. So we can also do this one. That's alright. This one definitely want to keep with more segments. This one I'm gonna bevel for the shading. And I'm more inclined to bevel this one for the shading because we have more segments. I think I'm gonna keep it like this. Get that polygon now a little bit more. Try one like this. Like that. We're gonna do our first bake. Marmoset. Let's do a new folder called this test, so we know we can delete all this later. OPJ. Let's call this high. Of course, we need to do UVs first. Let's try to do like a realistic textile density of how big the final UVs are gonna be. So we're gonna use this to fill up empty spaces, so maybe we can get to something like that. Call this low. Then a marmoset. Do. This is a really strange scene, by the way, that opens. So this guy. Not sure what's up with that. Maybe I need to reinstall marmoset. Anyways, let's just continue. Have some below. Listen low, high. High to high. Let's do 4K. And now just bake it. Now on the bump map, go to File, Tangent, Bump Value. Now we just put that normal map in there and put it on raw. Losing that detail, that's alright. So actually I think the thing should be a little bit bigger. I think we're just gonna change this in the low eventually. And we can take this and push it out a bit and whatever. So it's okay. Just keep it like this. Again, it doesn't need to be perfect. And let's export. Let's see if we can load this more. Yeah, I think we can get away with doing that. Really quick and big. That's still how it should be. In the stand like closest if you want to get to it. I think that's fine. Let's do it like that. Now export and Zbrush. Where's that thingy? Unify. I think that's nice. Alright. have 4 of them. Make sure to rotate them just a little bit, even though they're rounded. First one, I think on the sides as well. Get the straps back to make them safe. Now with the guidance of these buttons here, we can continue editing this. Then we can use that to guide how far this should extend. You can see how everything kind of works together, right? Make sure I have symmetry on. I like I'm just sticking out. So let's make this little piece where the straps are gonna connect to. So again, this is gonna be the most easy to do inside Maya. I'm gonna take one of those. Let's go ahead and hide the low. Hide the low, I mean. Now inside Maya, get rid of that hide poly. Let's keep it in. We don't need anymore. Import. The reason why I'm bringing this button in, because we can use this as a scale reference. So we know more or less how big it should be. So we take a look at this shape. Start off with a cube. The symmetry line. Make a new append where we can import this into. Most of the times I prefer to just, if I'm gonna mirror something like this, do it in Zbrush. Just a little bit faster than Maya in my opinion. You can do it wherever you want. Let's put distance. I'm just gonna add some thickness. I'm not gonna keep this thickness, I'm just doing it so I can bevel. Like that. Now let's get rid of that again. You can see how easy modeling is. All you gotta do is kind of think about what you're doing and that's all. Okay, I'm just gonna add some thickness. Just so I can bevel that. Gotta bridge all that stuff. Get the symmetry line back. Add some real thickness now. Actually, should invert this first. Let's fix that poly. Gonna make this a little bit more rounded. Let's get rid of the symmetry line. Line it up. Then halfway here, there should be like a little thingy there. Offset that. I think 0.15 will work. I think that will do it. Let's invert. Can get rid of that. I want to add a little bit more support for that curvature. To connect here. I'm gonna edit that edge flow out. Now finally let's add some bevel. That's all very nice and smooth. Then we can just edit that edge flow further to make this nice as we can. There's also going to be a low poly, by the way. That's why I'm putting a bit more effort into this. And of course we still gotta smooth that out. Don't really like that. I think we have too much space. Angle. I think like that should be. Again, I'm hitting the G key to repeat that connect. Let's keep that connected. And delete the history. Now it's doing some weird stuff. So we don't have that curvature here yet. I think we can add that by going to face, select those, do a deform and see what's non-linear bend. Can add some curvature. Rotate it the right way. Should be like that. Then edit the low bound. Then we we can move this handle to choose where the curvature begins. And how much? Have more. Something like this. And again, to make anything really nice and smooth while you're doing, just edit that edge flow. That will round everything out. I think that looks pretty nice. See how clean that gets if we just edit that edge flow all the time. I think this one can use an extra edge. You can also go in settings and edit edge flow on. Now if we put an edge, we'll do it automatically. It's kind of messing up. I'm not connecting them here because I want to avoid super long triangles. Something like that. And do the same here. I know this is kind of a strange workflow, because we're basically modeling the low poly before we even have the high poly. It's just a really nice way to work, because we don't need to retop all this stuff. Then we can just generate a high poly from the low poly that we have here. Something like that. I want to avoid those super long triangles. I think these are pretty okay. Looking model. Just add a bevel here. Then just edit edge flow. Just gonna make it a little bit nicer. Now a shading. Do soft shade. Let's watch hard edges. Then change that angle till we get something that works. This works great. Save. Gonna make a duplicate here. Now select those hard edges and just bevel that. Now you see we get a pretty nice high poly. I think we should undo that though. First let's go here and increase the size a little bit. Like that. Let's duplicate again. And let's bevel it again. I want to make this bevel a little bit more smooth, going into a hard bevel. So we can put this on edge slide and we can just slide this. Same for here. Just move that in. So I'm going to use surface. And slowly make that bevel nice and tight. So we have a little bit of pinch there. See how we can get rid of that by editing the topology. That fixes it. Now we get a nice soft edge like we should. We can add an extra edge here to make that a little bit harder. That looks good. Let's export that. Actually, let's smooth it out first. Export. Just gonna take a look in Zbrush. Simplify it a few times. A little bit of pinch here. We can fix that in the high poly itself in Sculpt. I think I'll try to inflate a little bit. Let's also see if we can fix that pinch. I think all we have to do is take this and just move this a little bit. That will help a little bit. Let's set that. Here's our low poly. Soften that all out. Just gonna this. Soft. Now we get a nice shading back again. Don't really care about the hard edge here. We can have seams, that's fine. We don't really see it after all. So let's match that bevel up a little bit better. So matching bevels up that change in width is just kinda an annoying pain, to be honest. it's not too bad. It doesn't need to be perfect, I just want to get something that's a little bit closer to the actual shape of the eye. Now I do want to make sure that this is all nice and clean. I'm going to take all that and just make it even. Then line it up to this vertex here. Now, if it's doing a bit weird. This seems to be pretty okay. See if we can fix that shading. Just gonna export this to Zbrush. Actually, no, it's gonna lose the hard edges. Let's do it here. So we gotta put a little edge here. Maya's being weird. Now we can just take all this. Now we can take one side, just delete it. Now we can work a little bit on the topology here. Let's try to get a little bit of a better shading. Let me try to reset. Let's fix that. A little wobbly. Maybe we'll just do like this. Just shading. That works all right. Over here I'm gonna put a hard edge. Actually, we don't need the hard edge. Go ahead and mirror this. So the way I like to do is just duplicate. Freeze the transform and just -1. Then merge everything together. I think this is the fastest way for me to do it. You can do whatever way you want, of course. Whatever works for you. Make sure we're not making n-gons. Give our shading a final check. Just gonna put a blend. Blend is really reflecting, so that gives you a good view of your shading, which is great. I think that all looks fine. Just gonna bevel that instead. We can put didn't do it on both sides. Get the symmetry back. Now we can bevel it. You can see that all looks fine. Triangulate that, just to make sure that the edge doesn't go like this, which will give us worse shading in engine. Let's compare that to the high. I think that's all close enough. Let's call this high. This one low. Not sure how to call this, I'm just gonna go with clasp holder. I think that's alright. In the low. Let's do the UVs really quickly. And doing UVs is really easy once you have all your hard edges and bevel set up properly. So we can just select all the hard edges, make a cut, and just unfold to it and lay out. As you see, the UVs are being weird. That's probably because we're missing a hard edge somewhere. As you can see, that should be hard. This should be a soft edge. So move and seal, and we also need to make them soft here. And this new hard edge on a cut. So this is also kind of a way to troubleshoot and make sure everything is has the right hard edges and all that. Because if not, you will get like a weird looking UV. You can really quickly see that something is wrong. So I'm just taking two verts, straightening them out, then just unfold that to make sure our UV is looking straight. Just straight UV. See what's this actually? Little thingy there. Just gonna rotate that. Rotate. Straighten out. Unfold and then unfold it in the vertical. Just gonna straighten. And unfold one time. See, it doesn't have too much stretching, and now we get a really nice straight UV. Repeat that for here. This one's already look kind of good, so we can just straighten UVs. Then unfold it. And now finally, select the UVs and layout. Now we get some pretty nice UVs. Just gonna put these underneath each other. These are gonna be our UVs for this asset. Now we can take this whole group, export, Zbrush, and import. We have some problems with the mesh. So we have an n-gon somewhere in here. Not sure where it is, so we can go mesh, cleanup. Now select, now face width more than 4 sides. And there shouldn't be an n-gon there. Seems like we accidentally beveled this. So just collapse. do it one more time. Clean up. Just to make sure everything's okay. Doesn't select anything. So export. Zbrush. It's being a little slow. Accidentally changed my UI. Now just import. Still having some problems. Export. So that's strange. Yourself. Unconnected one. Check the shading. It's a little dirty. That's because we're getting some long triangles. And try to get a little bit of a cleaner shading. And to get a cleaner shading, we can just space those triangles out and see if that works better. Doesn't. Let's just go back and accept the first one that we had. Because that one was the cleanest looking. So now it should be all fine. Export that again. Actually, let's take that. Just move this in a little bit. So now it imports fine without endons. So this part took a little bit longer, but that's because we also prepared the low poly for it. So we don't have to worry about that later. Because I hate when you just model the entire high out. Then you gotta worry about doing all the low poly stuff after. It's nice to already be like, oh, I don't need to do this part of the high. Because now we just kinda got the high for free and low. But if you have to retopologize when it's like in an uneven place, like now it's uneven, it's tilted and rotate and all that stuff, is just gonna be a little bit more hard. We can still make adjustments to the shape a little bit if we want to. Because we also have the low poly here. Just kind of check that doesn't break it too much. I think like that's okay. Let's mirror it. Let's start putting up some extra details for the leather part, because right now it's really boring from the back. I think the front's going pretty well. Pull up this image. You see that we need to make some straps. I'm gonna go to a low subdivision so the extract will be faster. Now we can just mask the ends and then polish. Mask that a little bit better. You can see that adds quite a lot of nice detail. Looks way more interesting right away. Do you think they're all a little bit too thick? A polish on a layer. We get at control. Add like this little thingy here. We can just do take this one, duplicate it, can just use this to block that out. So let's get some work done on the goggles. If we take a closer look at the picture, we can see that it should be cut off. Just something like, let's get a symmetry back. Something like that maybe. This should be way longer. So something around that should be fine. If it's not remeshing properly, one thing that sometimes works, exporting it and re-importing it. And it's still not working. So we can try geometry, crease, and subdivide it, then delete it, and then same. You can see now it works. Looking for a topology that I like. I think that's okay. I fit here. I'm gonna start by apologizing that. Maybe not. So this is Maya. Delete one side. Let's start cleaning up this one. You can just take all these, move it like that and twist it. I think that's a little bit better of a starting point. Get us back in Zbrush. See how that just looks a little bit cleaner and even. I think we have a little bit too much curvature here. Can push that in a bit. So let's continue with the goggles. Gonna add some real thickness to them. Get them to Maya. Get these in as well. Let's smooth this out a little bit. Actually, we'll do it in Maya. Again, let's just delete the right side so we can just focus on one. It's actually a little bit of curvature I want to bring in here. Just like that. And same here. Just a little bit of curvature. Clean that up.